Hello, my dudes. Welcome back to Previously Gifted. Today, we are guesting the famous Nathan White.
Hello, and welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to you as well. Today, we just thought we would go through and kind of answer some questions in terms of advice. I asked if anyone had questions on Instagram or Twitter, and we got a couple responses. I decided to bring Nathan in because he has opinions as well.
And I was bored.
And he was bored. It's either he hangs out with me or he watches from right there. Anyway, so might as well have him say some things, right? I totally forgot how my podcast goes, dude. I was not prepared at all. And also, you're making noise and you can hear every bit of it. This is like ASMR. He's all out here like... Okay, the one thing you can't hear. I'm sloshing wine for anyone listening at home. We thought we'd do like a drunk episode, but like we're not even intoxicated at all. So hopefully by the end of this we will be, or at least we'll be hydrated. But before we get started, again, I gotta give a shout out to my patrons. Nathan, can you do something to stall while I pull them up, please? Can you talk about Black Panther for 1 minute?
No, I cannot talk about Black. You've completely thrown me off guard. You can just cut
do
to your
something,
music.
Please.
Cut to your music.
I can't just do that. Is that how it goes? That's not how it goes. Okay, thank you, Nathan, for that beautiful break. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. We've got Joni, Kay, Kirsty, Eric, Lily, Matt, Jerome, and Elizabeth, aka Liz. Shouts out to the truest homies, the biggest supporter of Previously Gifted. Collectively, they are the biggest supporter. If you guys want to get in on this support, you've got to go to patreon.com/previouslygifted and you'll find everything out that you need to know there, okay? But today, let's just get the frick into this and let's see what the heck people have been asking. First question comes from G.I. Jangarelli. I don't think I'm going to say all your names on all this because I cropped some of the questions so that you can't see who they are anymore. Advice to have a healthy and happy relationship. Nathan.
Great question. Well, number one.
Happy and healthy relationship.
Number one is communication. 100%. I think that's probably the only thing is communication.
No, it's not the only thing, but it's important. There are a lot of elements that fall under communication.
Yeah, you're right. But communication, I would say, is number one. Communication, trust. Mm-hmm. Trust is a huge one.
Yes. Also loyalty.
Loyalty.
You can't have one without the other, really.
Exactly.
Communication, though, like, that is so key because so many people have really difficult relationships or they have a hard time finding the right person or expressing themselves correctly. So, like, the more clear you can be about your expectations, your wants, your needs, how you're feeling about any circumstance, the better that your partner is going to be able to hopefully meet those needs, or, you can at least talk it through and understand, like, where the other person is.
Exactly. It's being comfortable around one another as well. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you say everything that's on your mind. Mm-hmm. Not holding back, being you, being yourself. If you're not comfortable around the person, then it's never going to be healthy.
Right.
If you're not going to be yourself, well,
that sucks. That blows.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about naked attraction.
Let's talk about that.
We've been watching a show called Naked Attraction, which is on in the UK, and it's basically a fully nude, uncensored dating show where people pick their date based on their body. And we always laugh because we've been watching it for the past week or so. And there'll be somebody who will come out and say, I always go for this certain type of person, I always go for these big, huge guys, and then they end up being jerks.
I thought you were going to say something else. I was like, wow.
I always go for big, huge dicks, and I'm trying something new. But yeah, like these, I don't know, a lot of it's been girls. They'll come and they'll say, like, this is usually my type, but it doesn't go well. I'm looking for something different. But then, of course, a few of their type kind of guys are thrown in. And so often they end up picking that dude, and in the end they go on the date, and they have nothing to talk about. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, Nathan just gets so frustrated, because he said apparently this is a very common type of girl in the UK.
Yeah, there is. Especially where I was growing up, and I'm going to put this down here because it keeps shaking. I love the show. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Mm-hmm. I saw it advertised on Facebook for season 3, so I was like, looked it up on YouTube, and that's when you found it, and then we managed to find both 2 seasons. It's a guilty pleasure, and I like it. It's education. It's great. Like, I got posed a question by people at work because I was speaking to them, and they're Americans, obviously. They're like, "This is on cable TV. I can't believe it. Naked bodies, really?" I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, this. They were like, "Well, what time's it shown?" I was like, "It's past the watershed, 9 o'clock. You're an irresponsible parent if you're not gonna tuck your kids up into bed." You know, by the 9 o'clock.
Right.
Everyone in England knows that. Mm-hmm. There's other shows on Channel 4 like The Sex Box and things like that, and other educational shows about the human body, sex, etc., etc.
Right.
Other documentaries, you know, with those sorts of like adult subjects, if you like.
Yeah, but sex positive,
exactly.
body positive.
It's educational. Mm-hmm. It's so like, I just.
Well, okay.
It'd be so nice to see something like that here. If you're a 16-year-old kid growing up and I don't know, like...
Right. Well, it's either you see porn, which is obviously, like, for the most part, very unrealistic.
Exactly.
Like, in terms of body expectations or sex or...
Exactly.
You know, so, yeah, I mean, yeah, on one hand, it's good to see, I don't know, obviously different sizes of genitals. Everybody's got different pubes, their preferences, different boobs. Like, especially as a girl growing up, like... I feel like everybody is just like, oh, are my nipples normal?
Yeah.
Are my labia normal? Like, and you know, you don't know unless you happen to see somebody else's. So
weight,
it's like,
weight is like a big thing. It just goes to show on that show that not everyone has to be built like a porn star or a model to you know, attract someone. And it's the same with, like, you know, you see things like pubic hair. People are like, oh, should I show you my pubic hair? Blah blah blah. And it's just a nice. It's an interesting show. It shows that everyone is into different things, likes different people, different shapes, sizes, and I think it's a great thing.
Right. It can also be a very shallow show. Like, in a lot of ways, it's very typical of other, you know, dating shows.
But that's great because
I think it's good and it's funny.
The people out there and personalities out there.
True. All right. Let's move on to the next question. I
hope we answered the question about the
how to have a happy and healthy relationship.
Yeah. Well, watch Naked Attraction.
I don't know. Well, I guess to answer it again, let's just start over. How to have a happy and healthy relationship. I don't know. I think we definitely have like the most happy and healthy relationship I've ever been in. And it's been like so easy for us. So I've been trying to like crunch the numbers and like explain what it is that's different about us. I don't know, it's a lot of things. It's like we're obviously very compatible like personally, but also like where we are in our lives works really well right now. You know, like the fact that I'm not in school right now and that we can both live here and be flexible, like that makes it easy for us to do the same things, and like we want similar things. And then I don't know, in the future when things maybe get more complicated between like college or where we have to live, like we're still on the same page to where we'll just like talk about it and figure it out. And like basically we're just willing to make it work.
Exactly. And we've had this year to get to know each other. But going back to the question, it is communication and being loyal and honest
and loving. Be very loving. That's the best part. Okay. Next question is, how do you know when you're where you're supposed to be in your life or where you live, and you don't need to move or change as much anymore. How do you know you've made it to where you want to be? Nathan,
I don't think you're ever gonna know that.
Yeah.
You're always gonna. Well, depends on who you are, but me personally, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be happy, and I'm always gonna want to strive for more. Or can you read the question again? I don't know whether.
I don't know. Just basically, like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of tough to ask, like, how do you know when you're where you're supposed to be? But like,
I get you.
You know, just like, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know. For me, like I can say right now, I may not be where I want to be permanently, but I feel like for now, this is a good place for me to be. Like in this moment, I think I'm in a good place. But I've been in like locations or situations in the past where I thought this is not where I want to be, or like not where I'm supposed to be in that moment. So I think like to that extent, at any like time, you can ask yourself like, is this a good place for me right now, where I am in my life, or like.
I think the ultimate thing, as cliche as this sounds, is you really want to be with someone who you love, a job that you love, and in an area and location that you love as well. I think those three things are, the big things to. That's where everyone wants to. That's where everyone's working towards.
Yeah, that's where you'll get
and
that sense
I
of
don't think you're gonna.
belonging.
The majority of people, I don't think, are gonna get there until their late 20s, early 30s, anyway.
That's true, because to a big extent, you can't control everything.
Exactly.
So that's our non-answer. Next question. How do you stay in touch with people after you physically move away from them? How do you stay in touch with your friends from study abroad or high school? Well, we both have experience in that. You're, in a completely different country. How do you stay in touch with people?
Family, I speak to my family every single day. One member of the family every single day, through WhatsApp, Snapchat, Facebook, and the same with my friends. It's God bless social media. We all criticize it, but for things like that, it's great. My grandma I still communicate with through writing her a letter, and she writes me a letter back. My nan I email back and forth. My aunties and uncles, social media, WhatsApp, Snapchat. It's great.
Yeah. I would agree, but also, like, I've noticed that I don't keep up with, like, anyone. Like, I don't know, I'm not a big, like, texter or, like, caller, so, like, I'm rarely the person to, like, reach out, which I feel bad about when I realize it, because I'm like, oh, man, like, there's so many of my friends that I want to talk to, but, like, just day to day, when I have free time, like, it's not the first thing that pops into my head, like, I should call somebody, just, check up on a friend. But also, I definitely have the kind of relationships, like, it's a few, but, like, those relationships aren't the type that I need to constantly keep up with them.
Exactly.
So, like, McKenna, like, we can just barely talk for weeks, but then, like, once we do again, it's totally fine, and we just catch up with each other. It doesn't, like, negatively impact our relationship. But I definitely do feel good when I finally, like, catch up with my parents or my brothers or my grandparents or other friends,
Yeah, I go back to my point is that was mainly towards parents. Friends-wise, I communicate with them similar to you. But the same is it's a beautiful thing about a friendship is I can just click back in to any one of my friends back at home.
Yeah.
We have that sort of understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you get busy and really, like, when you move initially or beforehand, you feel like, oh, like, we better really actively make sure we stay in touch or we'll, our relationship will fall apart. But I don't think that's necessarily the case with most relationships. But I would say, like, romantic relationships, there's definitely different needs.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, you're the person I talk to all day long.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't, like, text all day long, really, but, like, you're all my socializing, mostly, which is... Who knows? We have good times. It's great.
It's the same for me as well. I have no friends here.
No, we really need to. We need to make some friends. We need to branch out. Next question. I don't know when my camera is going to shut off because it's actually been recording longer than I expected. But if it does cut off, it's fine. No worries. I really want to move to New York after I graduate, but I'm scared with my student loans that I can't afford it. Do you have any budgeting...
Good luck.
Do you have any budgeting tips for dealing with loans? I hate when people ask me, like, budgeting questions. I'm like, don't ask me. Not today. I've got the plans, but I'm not the best budgeter. Like, I'm definitely not, like, a strict person. I also don't, like, shop a lot. It's not like I do a lot of crazy spending. But, you know, I think when it comes to being a young adult, especially with loans and bills, you have to know all of those amounts. It really helps me to have auto pay on, but obviously with that you have to make sure that you have money in your bank. So, you know, keep everything in check, make sure that all of those payments will go through fine. And then yes, make a rough budget that's pretty generous about like what you're going to need or how much you expect to pay for transportation, groceries. Obviously, leave some room for entertainment and fun because you will be spending that money. And then, you know, with like housing, in any big city, it's like, it's going to be really expensive. There are definitely ways that you can live on a more frugal budget and find more affordable housing. But again, like that depends like how much you can restrict yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, okay, because when I moved here, Nathan had moved here with our roommate months before, not knowing that I would move later. So I wasn't involved in like the actual housing search, but like explain like kind of you weighing between being in the city, like Manhattan versus Long Island.
So for me, it's all about the commute and how close I am to work. My work's actually not on Manhattan, it's on Long Island. So people at work, friends at work have been saying, you got to be on Manhattan, you know, this could be your only opportunity living in New York, you have to live in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And as you say, when I was crunching the nums, it clearly was more expensive to live in Manhattan, and the commute every single day was just, it could be an hour to an hour and a half commute. And that would be 5 days a week. But the idea is, it's your social life, you're being in the middle of Manhattan, the weekends.
Totally different
experience, exactly. And the reason I moved to the island was, I'm in a great location where I'm 40 minutes away, train journey to the city. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the money, because actually the place I'm living in now is very similar to what I would have been paying in the city.
But a lot more room.
A lot more room here, yeah. And parking.
And parking.
It was the commute to work, and also my obviously my roommate really wanted to live on the island. He's an American, so you know the attraction to Manhattan wasn't as strong as what it was for me. Mm-hmm. So kind of that played into it as well. But yeah, so that's really it. But I'm happy that I've done this. I would have killed myself, however, if you didn't move in with me. I don't know what the hell I would have fucking done in the middle of Roslyn, New York, and Long Island.
Right.
I mean, I would have killed myself, and I probably would have spent a lot of money on hostels or crashing at a few of my friends' house in the city.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I've done it now, because we've spoken about it, where I think my next move now, if I was lucky enough to come back to New York, it wouldn't be the city, but it'd be Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is part of the city. It's not Manhattan.
No.
I know, but it's it's one of the 5 boroughs. I agree with you though. I would love to be in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's really cool. And when it comes to budgeting, obviously Manhattan is going to be the most expensive borough in New York. But Brooklyn can have pretty affordable places. Queens, the Bronx. It's just about looking around, and sometimes you're lucky and you find something. But I would say probably the most painful thing in your budget, other than housing, is like how much you end up spending just on other things, because the cost of living in New York City is pretty high. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you may just be attracted to, I don't know, just going out adds up a lot. Yeah. And that's one thing we definitely save money on. Yeah. We don't go out, but I feel like if we were in the city, we'd definitely be going out more often, or going out to actual restaurants and not just Chipotle.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But that's good. Saves us money.
Yeah. Well, this was the first place I found.
Yeah.
And we snapped it up, but yeah.
All right, let's take a break, and then we will come back, and we've got lots more questions. I think we'll be a little bit more quick on the next ones, but here we go. And we're back with a pretty personal question, but I think we're gonna answer it. This is from Instagram. A little bit more of a personal question, I guess, but what are your opinions or preferred methods of birth control? I'm in kind of a weird limbo right now because I've been on the pill for forever, but I also kind of want to get off it and be on my natural cycle and not have the added hormones, etc., etc. I don't know. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. If either of our parents are listening, shouts out. It's not that big of a deal, though, to talk about safe sex or birth control or whatever, having a healthy sex life. So we are on the pull-out method, you guys. And it's funny because some people think of that as like an irresponsible, almost like laughable method. But I mean, for me personally, when I'm in a monogamous relationship and, you know, we don't have anything to worry about really, it works fine for me. I actually I don't know, I don't like condoms usually, again, in like a monogamous relationship, because I get more scared that like a condom is gonna break because like it happens. Yeah. And like sometimes you don't notice until after, and then you have to deal with plan B or something. And to me, the pull-out method is very obvious, and I know for sure that that's not inside me. Love it.
You've run the risks of things like pre-cum and things like that.
Right.
But I think it happens last summer. The decision was made because we were going through that, but there was a couple of times where it did split, and it was just like not worth the risk. It was just too often where it was splitting.
I know. I was like, this is sketchy. Like, I cannot feel comfortable using condoms if you... I don't know. You just have to pay attention so much. And I don't know. For me, I was on the pill for a couple of years back, like late high school mostly. But I didn't want to be on a hormonal form of birth control for too long. I was reading a lot of reports about, you know, the possible effects of women being on the pill for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And yeah, that is just a lot of hormones. So, I didn't really have any, like, negative, side effects from the pill anyway. But, when I got off of it, you know, my periods are very regular. It's super easy for me. I've never had any pregnancy scares, so that's not an issue. But anyway, I wouldn't recommend this form of birth control unless you're like very, very careful and you know, there has to be, again, trust, communication between each other, because it's, you know, like 100% of the time. There's no question, like, with pulling out on time, early. Love it, you guys. You're learning a lot about us. I haven't drank enough wine to discuss this.
Your pull-out game has to be strong.
Yes. And in conjunction with that, you can, of course, what is it called? Just like monitoring your cycle. So like knowing when you're more fertile, when you're ovulating. Try to maybe be careful, extra careful around those times. I don't know. It's a way.
Yeah.
And hey, if we got pregnant, that's another question. That is a whole other issue that we don't have to talk about right now, which is great. Cheers.
Cheers.
Next question. Hey, I love the idea of you doing advice for your podcast. Thank you. My sister is a year older than me, and I often feel like I'm in her shadow. I feel jealous because she's so creative and unique and is super popular at school. I always feel like I'm playing second fiddle to her. How can I step out of her shadow? You want to take this one?
Well, I'm the oldest sibling, so...
Yeah, but it doesn't always have to be
my sister.
It doesn't always have to be the older sibling. Just like, have you ever felt outshined? Maybe by your sister, who's going to be a lawyer?
I don't want to sound... That's yeah.
Is she no, you're the favorite, right?
I am the favorite child. I am. Ask my mum. I don't want to sound... this is God's honest. When it comes to my brother and sister, you know... I wish them the best. I know, seriously, I never, ever, 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 ever have a bit of jealousy. My sister is the biggest workhorse in terms of you can't get her head out of a book. When she's studying for like 24 hours straight. She deserves every bit of good fortune, every bit of good luck
Shouts out
that comes
Cara.
her way. Oh, no, seriously, I mean that. She's great. She knows what she wants, and she's very independent. She's going to go out there and she's going to do it. And she's going to be very successful at doing it. And I generally believe that, but there is no jealousy or nothing towards that at all.
Okay.
Only support. My brother, on the other hand. No.
Shouts out Brendan.
No, him as well. I wish he finds. He's doing something now. But
yeah. Do you think that either of them have felt like they were in your shadow?
No, my sister no. My brother no.
Yeah, you're such different people.
We're different. We're all different. Going back to my brother again. Like I wish the same thing. There's just nothing there. My brother always used to make a joke when he was younger to say that, I gotta be the first. I gotta be a millionaire. Like I'm the kid that's gonna be a millionaire out of the three of us and things like that. So but I think I was just joking around.
Right.
But I truly mean it. I wish them the best. And there's just nothing like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's not a great answer to this question.
No, I apologize.
Yeah, when it comes to like sibling rivalry, I guess I would kind of say the same thing. I have considered myself to be the favorite child out of 4, which maybe that has caused some sibling rivalry, just because like I seem like a dick. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the favorite. What's it like to not be the favorite? Ask my siblings. No, but I don't know, with anyone in your life that is in a kind of position to overshadow you, it can make you feel like you haven't accomplished enough or that you're not good enough in some way. But that's the thing about comparing yourself to anyone. And I know it's a lot easier to compare yourself to siblings because you're under the same household and your parents are obviously involved with both of your lives and they're going to be, complimentary of your sister. And like, yeah, I totally understand how in that kind of situation, like, you just feel like shit if, you're never the one who's being the star or whatever. But again, like, you cannot base your own self-worth off of any comparisons.
No.
And, you want to, congratulate your sister and be proud of her for the things that she does, but recognize that you are different people, you have different goals, and I'm sure that the people in your life are proud of you as well.
Exactly.
Your parents love you, and I'm sure you're better than you even think, Imagine what your friends would say about you.
Exactly. And, yeah. I feel sorry for my brother now. Like I'm my mum's favorite. My sister's my dad's favorite, and he's just there like, oh.
And Brandon is Brandon.
But he growing up, he's always been the person with the most money in his bank, and he always used to gloat about that. Mm-hmm. But
that's a good one. All right, next question. How in the hecking world do you deal with friends who still hang out with your ex, even though you told them it wasn't cool? Okay, so you break up with someone, and I guess maybe you intertwine friend groups, and your friends are still hanging out with your ex, even though you told them it wasn't cool. I don't know. It's hard because I try to be in the position of like, Megan Hughes tweeted this recently. She said something like she never understood the concept of like not liking someone because your friend doesn't like them, It's kind of like, it's like a loyalty thing. So like, if you fuck with my friend, like, we've got problems. But then again, it's like, how exhausting to have like such a long list of people that you don't fuck with because your friends don't fuck with them. And it totally depends on like the reason behind it. But I would just say like, I wouldn't want to have beef with people just because my friends do or whatever. Yeah. But in this situation, I don't know, I guess it depends on the whole circumstance, like how did the breakup happen, like why is it that you asked them to not be friends with your ex? But again, I think it comes down to communication. So like, have you ever mentioned to your friends, like, or even just asked or said like that it makes you feel uncomfortable that they're still hanging out with your ex. But then again, like, they have their own friendship, and it's kind of not cool to come between that, even though it hurts you personally.
Yeah. I've never had the experience myself, but I do know a friend who has. Mm-hmm. And I would say time is a great healer. Mm-hmm. As in now, if you were to ask him, it wouldn't bother him one bit. It wouldn't bother him one single bit. It did at the time, but now he just couldn't even care.
Yeah.
And that's because you move on. You find someone else. And, you know, now, that's time's a great healer, and I just think in time, you're not going to care anymore. Right.
I would say in this circumstance, depending on everything, try to heal, try to forgive your ex for whatever happened. And maybe talk to your friends, raise this issue, or just say, you know, like, I'm not saying that I want you guys to not be friends, but I just want you to know how this makes me feel. Just in case they maybe don't know. And, like, you know, that's not assuming that they'll end the friendship or anything, or make any changes at all, but just, like, you know, communicating your feelings always helps, because then you don't keep it built up. But, yes, ultimately, like, it's always best to just heal and be able to move on as best as you can.
And it'd be pretty fucked up if you come knocking on someone's door and it's just you and your ex, or your friend and your ex.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty.
I don't know. Some shit just happens. I don't know. It sucks. It's like when you introduce someone to a friend and then they become better friends than you guys,
right.
And you're like, oh, cool. But, you know, it happens sometimes. I don't know. How do you not give a shit about other people's judgment on your life, especially if it's different to everyone around you? You inspire me loads. Thank you. How do you not give a shit about people's judgments on your life? Me personally, it's just like, I don't know, there are very few people whose opinions matter to me enough to, like, impact my decisions, and that would just be, like, my closest friends. And that's just out of, like, complete love, like, knowing that they care about what I do. Therefore, I would care what they think. And then when it comes to family or something, like, I don't know. My parents were never, like, a huge influence in terms of, like, the decisions I made. I've always been pretty independent and, like, deciding things for myself. You know, like, right now, like, in terms of my college decisions, like, my parents are definitely Team California, but, you know, I've told them, like, I'm applying to all these places and I have my reasons, and wherever I end up going is gonna be what's best for me, but, like, you know, I don't know, you just can't spend too much time concerned about what other people think of you or your decisions.
Agreed. Agreed. Mine's a little different to yours, as in the only people I care about their opinions are my family. Mm-hmm. If they were to say something hurtful, I'd be hurt by it. If they were to say something, you know, nice, I'd be pumped. Mm-hmm. My family are the only people where you know, I care about what they think of me. Mm-hmm. As friends, I do, but yeah, it's just not so much.
Right. Since you live/travel lots, where do you keep everything? Like, is it in 2 or less suitcases, or is it someone's home? Do you practice minimalism? All the best. So
everywhere,
basically,
on the floors, on the side, here, there, everywhere. Every little bit of space, little bit of clean area, Tiffany finds some sort of way of covering it.
Yes.
With her shit.
That's very true in this current moment, and most of the time. Yes, I get a little messy, but in terms of, like, all of my belongings, I think about this a lot, actually, because it's like I still have a lot of stuff that's back at my parents' house, but, like, I just keep it there, and then seasonally when I go back and visit again, I swap different things out, and I can't wait for the day when I have all of my stuff at my own place, but just, like, especially when coming to New York back in November, I was like, okay, I'm going to be here in November through the summer, basically. And flying across the country with all of your stuff is difficult. So I brought it, like, little by little. But I mean, I've tried to keep, like, a minimal but functional wardrobe. I'm looking at it right now, and there's so many useless things already that I can see. I don't know. You don't want to bring too little, because then you're just going to end up buying more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't have that much stuff in general. You might argue with me. Nathan, I mean, the same for you, because you came from England and didn't bring that much stuff.
No. And still don't have that much stuff. I tend to buy cheap when I'm here, so that when, if I do have to move, I'm not so like, I have to keep hold of.
You can leave things or throw it away,
or sell it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know it's tough. It's tough having to travel like longer distances and only being able to bring like basically light things that you can put in a suitcase.
Yeah.
As opposed to like if we were within driving distance and could keep furniture and like other bigger things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I have a location now where I can keep, furniture and things like that if I needed to move.
True.
If I needed a period of coming out of the country to come back into the country, I've got a place to leave it. So.
Right. Or storage, like an actual storage place. Next question. Hey, lady, I'd love to hear about your adjustment to living with your boyfriend. Love, love, love the podcast. Like, for real. It's great. Don't ever stop. I'm like, don't stop complimenting me. Thank you. Best wishes, homie. Best wishes to you. My adjustment to living with my boyfriend. Wow. It's been a time.
Do you want me to leave the room?
Yes, please. So this is my first time living with a significant other, and I was definitely nervous about it. It's funny how everything went about with Nathan and I, because I don't know, everything moved pretty quickly. And again, I've been in like long-term relationships before, but like moving in was never like even an issue, because I was just like, no, I will keep my own space, thank you. But when it came to, Nathan and I meeting at camp, and then like literally within like a month of knowing me, you were low-key dropping hints. You're like, well, you could always move to New York, even just for a little bit. You could just try it, and if you don't like it, you can move home. You can live with me. And I was like, wow, is this guy for real? And you were. And then I was like, you know what? I actually could do this. So I brought it up to like, my friends and my family, and I was like, should I do that? They're like, you know what? Actually, it's a cool opportunity. But I don't know. There's a lot that like goes into, thinking about living together. And we talked about this again, like communication. We were like, okay, what are your living habits like? Like, are you messy? Like, how do you like to live, basically, to see if we were compatible.
I my attitude towards the whole thing was, what is the worst that's going to happen? The worst that was ever going to happen, and still ever going to happen, apart from the emotional thing about the whole thing, is it's a $100 to $200 like dollar ticket.
Quid.
I was about to say quid. $100 to $200 ticket home, back to LA.
Yeah.
So that was always my pitch to you, was like, that's the worst that's going to happen. In terms of like habits and stuff, it's always difficult to say what your habits are when you're back at camp. When you get to live with someone, that's when you start to
really see it.
And I have to be very, very honest. I have no problem with you at all.
Oh,
that's what's crazy.
Even my mess.
No, even the mess, and it's not even that bad.
Hold on a second. This just stopped, and we're starting again. Hey. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that I'm not annoying you in any way.
No.
Because I came in and took over most of our room, and I definitely make a mess everywhere else. But I will say, living with Nathan has forced me to be, this is funny, neater than usual. So like this that you see, this level of mess is better than I would be on my own. I learned that from like having roommates, and like, you learn to respect shared spaces, and you respect whoever you're living with directly. But I don't know, just like, I think I was more concerned about like just how we would get along, or like seeing each other a lot. Cause like, I don't know, when you're dating someone, you're like, oh, I feel like we could spend a lot of time together. But like, it's different to think like, oh, we're gonna literally be together every day.
Yeah, right.
Are we gonna want to hang out every single day?
My concern was like space from each
Yeah.
other, like we're having alone time, because we're both very similar in terms of like we like our alone time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely someone that likes to just walk away for like 5 minutes just to think or listen to music or something like that. And I think with work for both of us now, yeah, I will say this: we have not had one argument.
Yeah.
We haven't. There's been a few times where like we snap at each other, but there's never been an argument.
Right.
And that's just no silent treatment, nothing. There's no argument. I generally mean that.
I know.
That's what's crazy. I've never spent time like this with anyone in my life.
I know.
And I haven't. The worst I do, I can't remember the last time I snapped you. It was probably over when you were going to get a refund on your jacket. That was probably the last time I snapped at you.
Right.
And that's a crazy thing. But I think, and it goes back to what I was saying before, is because now we work and I leave early in the morning, I come back at 5 or whatever, and it's the same for you. You go off and do your own thing, and you have your own space and your own time to get what you need to get done. And then we get to enjoy the evenings with each other, watch a film, Netflix, or at the weekends we get to do whatever we want.
Right. I know, it's a little different. Like, I feel like over the weekend, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I need to work on things, or I need to, like, whatever. I just, like, take my shower and have my, like, long routines or something, because I'm like, I love to spend time with you, but I literally just need to, like, do my things. Like, even if it's just practical things that I have to get done. And then, of course, like, you being gone at work all day and then me going to work and having a different schedule, like, helps. Because obviously, like, if we were literally together 24/7, I don't know. We still probably wouldn't even have any issues, but it is good to...
No, but, like, any situation where you live to, like, my family, for crying out loud, like, your family, like, the minute you live with them, you're bound to do things where little things irritate you or you snap at each other. And it just goes back to the point with the first question, is communication is probably one of the other big things.
Exactly.
If something's annoying you, you'll say it's annoying you.
Right. Talk about it before you blow up.
Don't be disrespectful. Just say, look, do you mind getting your stuff off my side of the bed? And then...
Oh, sure. I'll get that. All right, let's do some rapid fire questions, because we're taking a long time to answer these, which is good. Okay. Again, thank you guys for asking the questions, because I needed some material for this. Any thoughts on making friends at uni? I'm in my second semester, and I'm like, damn, am I ever going to make really good friends like I did in my hometown? Thoughts on making friends at uni?
Go out there, go to every event you can, socialize, be open. You'll make friends with your housemates, your roommates. I will say this: there's 3 guys who I live with who I love to bits, best friends, and I would say my time at university was definitely some of the best times of my life. Thanks to those guys. So, what was the question? Did I answer?
Just how to make friends at uni. Yeah, you have to get out there.
Yeah.
I mean, because I had my problems, and I still probably will, in making friends, because I'm not the most, like, outgoing.
Do you have a freshers week or freshers?
Yeah, orientation.
Yeah, so
get
out and go to those things.
Yeah.
With your roommates, and you're bound to meet people on your course as well. Like me as well, I worked on a film course and creative media course, so I worked in groups. I had friends on my course. I had friends that,
That's true.
I worked at the Students' Union. Sorry to interrupt. The Students' Union, so I had friends at the Students' Union.
Yeah, it's about, like, people in your classes or people you work with. If you have, like, any kind of connection there, just ask them to hang out or, like, see what they're up to. Because even if it's not them directly, maybe you'll meet, like, friends of friends, and then somehow you end up finding, like, a circle of people. But yeah, it's hard, but you'll definitely find your people. Like, if you're in one place for 4 years, at first it may take a while for you to explore and find those people, but you'll find them eventually. You do have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, just be open and put yourself out there.
Yeah. Next question. Okay, important question. How do you manage applying to a lot of colleges at once? I'm starting application processes soon, and I'm already overwhelmed. Nathan, his mind is blown when I talk to him about all of the different processes that I've been going through, especially when it comes to, like, financial aid. Oh, God. It's a lot of paperwork. For me, I mean, I've been using the Common App, So any sort of things like that can keep things together and cut down on the repetitive work definitely helps. Otherwise, make like a spreadsheet or some kind of like a Word file or something to keep track of deadlines and, I don't know, all the different forms that you could possibly need to submit. And then I always keep like a bookmark folder full of each school and like its application status page. So sometimes I'll just go through and check all the different schools and make sure they're receiving all my documents or see if I have any updates on my, admission decision. It's a lot, but just like take it one school at a time even. Because I got overwhelmed before I did all my essays and things, and then I finally got them finished for the most part, and, you just don't want to overwhelm yourself looking at the big picture. Okay. Okay. I want to be anonymous, please. You got it. I have a huge crush on one of my good friends, and I don't want to tell him because I don't want to ruin our friendship. I don't know how he feels about me, because sometimes he seems like he's flirting, but sometimes it seems like he doesn't want to hang out with me. Should I tell him how I feel, or should I just ignore it and hope my feelings go away? Having a crush on one of your friends. What do you do?
Title of this whole video is communication.
Communication!
That's what, just be open and honest and speak. Again, if he turns around and says he doesn't feel the same way, move on.
Right. It doesn't necessarily have to ruin your friendship.
Exactly.
Depending on how big your feelings are. And if you could deal with him, not reciprocating and not having awkward feelings after that. But I'd say it's always worth the risk. Or at least weigh, your relationship as it is, your friendship versus what you think it possibly could be. See, if you think he's possibly into you, obviously that's a good sign. But I don't know. Yeah, weigh the options. Mm-hmm. And if you do tell him in like a very, I don't know, like a safe way. Like not like too extreme, not something that makes him feel, freaked out or anything. Just say like, you're a good friend of mine, and I'm having these feelings, and I just wanted to let you know that I like you as more than a friend. And then judge him based on how he reacts.
Maybe also see what sort of signals he's given off. Is ask if he wants to hang out, just you and him.
True.
Yeah, and then you can read a situation a lot better. Is it going to be a friendship sort of thing, or is it going to be something a little bit more? And you're definitely going to be able to tell by that.
Yeah. I'm remembering our first time singing out and talking. Very cute.
If it does go awkward, I would say go to the movies and watch a film, because that way you don't have to talk. You just watch a film.
True. Let's see if he tries to
go to
put
a
his
mall
arm over you.
with a cinema and walk around the mall. If things aren't going that well, go to the movies.
Right.
All right. A film.
Last question. This is a tough one, but might as well knock it out. I don't know if this is applicable to you or your relationships past or present, but I remember your video about growing up poor and how grateful I was to watch that and feel like I could relate to something that carried a lot of shame or embarrassment in my life. I was wondering if it's been a hard thing to deal with in relationships, like if men you've dated have come from different circumstances and how you've dealt with that. Yeah, definitely a big thing. First of all, it was hard for me to make that video because obviously, like, as I mentioned in it, it's not something that I talked about with, like, anyone except my very closest friends. And even to this day, I forget that it's visible if you, like, happen to look at my videos or something. And it kind of makes me cringe. Imagining just, like, anybody who knows me or watches my videos seeing that, because it is very personal. But again, it's like, it's just how I grew up, and it was, like, just something I wanted to share. For me, it's hard because, like, it's hard to separate, like, my childhood. I mean, with anybody. Like, the way you grew up has a big impact on how you feel as an adult. And, like, a lot of times if you're talking with someone about your childhood memories or your habits or what your parents were like or what your home was like, those were things that, like, used to and still kind of do, like, make me uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. Just, like, little things. So... I
was going to say, it took me a while to break into that.
Oh, God. I know. And this is, again, like, our relationship is the one that I've been the most open in. And, like, in the past, it sucked to be dating someone that I still didn't want to, like, talk about that with. Yeah. But again, I was so much younger, so, like, with my aging and my growth and these relationships where I, trust people more, like, I don't know, with you, I just wanted you to understand, like, why I would, like, act certain ways or feel defensive or, I don't know, just lots of things. So I'm glad I explained it too, because it was like ripping off a Band-Aid. And the funny thing about that video is, like, again, Nathan and I first met at the camp that we worked at together, and as soon as we started to, like, talk and just first start hanging out a little bit, I talked about my videos, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go watch some. And, like, after a few nights of him being like, yeah, I stayed up watching your videos for hours, I was like, oh no. I was like, I know, like, that had to have popped up because it's recommended, like, often. That had to have popped up at some time. Like, he's had to at least seen, like, the thumbnail and, like, would he watch it? That makes me want to die. I don't want him to watch it. Yeah, you can...
Yeah, I watched it, and it was always awkward because I wanted to ask questions, but I don't think we're at that stage yet.
Yeah.
Especially with the anxiety ones as well. It was like a different subject, but started asking questions about that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was up till stupid o'clock watching these videos.
Yeah.
But
I know it's funny.
It took a while to get those, like, answers out of you.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. It's like, for me, which is totally, like, a special circumstance, like, for just anyone to be able to know those things that I would never talk about unless I'm, like, close with someone, that's, like, different. So, yeah, you got, like, a really quick shortcut into, like, a lot of the deeper things in my life just by, like, stumbling upon those videos. Yep. But still, it's completely different hearing them, like, directly from me or, like, continuing that conversation. But anyway, when it comes to, like, relationships and comparing, like, I don't know, just your lifestyles or your childhoods or your families, like, that's an issue. And I feel like even more so, like, the more serious your relationships are, like, meeting each other's families isn't just, like, are they gonna like me, but it's, like, so many different things and, like, all of your values and traditions and, like, it's a lot of things. So it's, like, would our families mesh together, or, like, do I fit into your family, or I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can definitely fit into my family. So
it's tough. I would say, though, I don't know. Basically, in my experience of these type of things, like, the things that are the hardest to talk about, don't keep it bottled up. Like, you should talk about it with, hopefully, somebody. And that doesn't necessarily have to be your significant other. But I would say it's always better once you get to the point, once you feel like you can open up to them about those things. Because it's like, like, if I were living with you right now and still had things that I feel like I couldn't talk to you about, that would just, that would cause us issues because you wouldn't understand me on certain levels, and I wouldn't feel like I could, explain those things or let them out. So, yeah.
And I think, my family really like you. I hope your family like me. Mm-hmm. The other thing that is like a barrier in front of what we have as well is our cultures. Yeah. And it's, like, completely different. Like, our accents are completely different. So it's those things you'll get across first before any of that. That's true. But yeah, parents love you, and your family's great. I really like your family. Yeah. And none of that is, like, an issue for me. Yeah. But I would say specifically about, like, financial things, like, I don't know, it's different. Like I said in the video, like, I would compare myself to other friends. My camera died. Sorry, YouTube. Like, comparing yourself to friends, or, like, I don't know, it's just, like, most of the time your financial upbringing doesn't have, like, a huge impact on your relationships, but, like, sometimes it does. I don't know, just, like, even practical things. Like, oh, do you guys all want to go on a trip? And it's like, oh, I can't afford to, but my friends can. So those kinds of things can come up in relationships, I guess, in a way. But I don't know. I'm talking myself in circles now. It's a tough question. I feel like
No, I don't know what I
I
feel.
don't think it impacts you now.
No, not really.
You're very independent, so things
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, I know that's an interesting thing. Is like, and that was the thing about making that video. Like, I made that video at that point because I was like, okay, I think I'm at a point where I can finally like separate myself from my upbringing, I guess. And the more independent I get, the less I feel like I need to carry that. I don't know. It's just a thing. Everybody's got their childhood traumas that impact you as an adult. All right, the camera's dead. My computer is also dying. And we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes. We did it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Nathan, for being featured.
Thank you.
It's time for us to watch a movie and drink some more.
Yes.
All right, stay tuned for the next episode of Previously Gifted. Okay, thanks. Bye.